Alistair.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's a pleasure to again serve under your chairmanship. Surely the abiding question that arises from this debacle is, what's the point in having an ombudsman if, when maladministration is found, it can be swept aside and ignored? Why have we an ombudsman? Governments make mistakes. Governments get things wrong. People think governments get things wrong, so people want to complain. So what do? We set up an independent ombudsman. Why? Because government should not be judging its own cause. That's the whole purpose and ethos of having an ombudsman. But in this case, the outcome is that this government wants to be judge in the government's cause. And we're not talking about some incidental, slight illustration of maladministration. Let's remind ourselves what the Ombudsman found. Found that some women lost opportunities to make informed decisions about their finances, which diminished their sense of personal autonomy and financial control, and therefore led to injustice. We are talking about injustice. We're not just talking about maladministration. And when we talk about injustice, then it's an injustice needs to be rectified. And to find government saying, we apologise, and frankly the sincerity of that apology is weighed in the balance of the refusal to compensate. It's not just a matter of saying we're sorry. It's a matter of putting it right. That's what you do when you find an injustice. You try to put it right. And what does the government do in this case? Well, we've had the most spurious attempt to repudiate the findings of the Ombudsman by telling us, oh, well, only 1 in 4 people actually read unsolicited letters from DWP. What was the point in sending them then? You might as well save the postage. It really is pathetic that government have reached the stage of saying to women that the independent ombudsman says weren't just wronged, but an injustice was visited upon them. It really is appalling that government says nothing to see here, nothing to do here, we're doing nothing about it. And I do say to this government, it is not a sign of weakness to admit you're wrong. It's a sign of strength. And rather than hide behind the huge majority that the government has in this House, they would rise in the estimation of many if they exercised the strength of saying, we've got this wrong. Yes?
The honourable gentleman is making an extremely powerful case about righting an injustice, about the importance for our parliamentary system of following the recommendations of an ombudsman. But would he also agree that the reason why the government revisiting this will strengthen our democracy is because we've heard just how strong the cross-party consensus is today, and including notably from many Labour members, as well as members of other parties, referring to the pledges we made in the election? Isn't that why it's so important to restore faith in democracy that the government thinks again?
This goes to the very heart of public confidence in our system of government. I started by saying governments get things wrong. People think they get things wrong, so government has an independent arbitrator. But you can't have an independent arbitrator and then throw their findings in the bin. And that's what's happening here. So yes, it does go to the very heart of the confidence in government and in the system of government, whichever party it is, that if a maladministration of this magnitude is found, then there must be recompense to those to whom the injustice was wrought. And I say to the government, many of your backbenchers are saying loud and clear to you, it's time to rethink. And it certainly is time to rethink. And in that there is strength. And I say on behalf of the 77,000 WASPI women in Northern Ireland, with the rest of this United Kingdom. It is beyond time even for you to rethink. It is time to put right the wrong that was done to all these women. Thank you.
I am